Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. I hope that you all are fine and safe in your home. Please take care of yourself and your family and strictly follow the SOPs. Today we are going to start our second lecture of class 6 English, and this is our textbook. In last lecture we discussed and learned about unit 1, which is the enormous turnip, and today we will revise its second half part. The chapter is about a man who worked hard on his garden with full dedication and prayed to Allah for a good production. The lesson of this story is that hard work and your concentration and sincerity to your work led to success, and this is the result that how your prayers was always answered by the God if you are sincere with your work. In recap of the last lecture, we saw that there was a man planted the turnip seeds, took great care of it, and in some days the turnip grew bigger and bigger, and finally it looked like enormous turnip. So the man decided to pull up the enormous turnip, and he called his wife for help, and they both were pulling the enormous turnip, but they could not do so because turnip was too much big. On book page number 8 at the top of, now the woman called the little boy for help, and they all three were trying to pull up the turnip, but they could not do so because the turnip was too much big and enormous. Okay, finally they called a little girl who was walking along past, please come and help us with this enormous turnip. So what happened the next we will discuss in today's lecture on book page number 8 at the mid of the page. So we start to read. So the man pulled the turnip, and the woman pulled the man, and the little boy pulled the woman, and the little girl pulled the little boy. They pulled with all their might. Might mean takat, but they couldn't pull up all the enormous turnip. Okay, they all four were trying to pulling the turnip, but all in vain. Okay, in the next paragraph, the little girl called to her dog, here boy, come and help us. So the man pulled the turnip, and the woman pulled the man, and the little boy pulled the woman, and the little girl pulled the little boy, and the dog pulled the little girl. They pulled with all their might, but they couldn't pull up the enormous turnip. Okay, now there was an extension of a dog here, but they could not pull the enormous turnip because it was just too much huge in size. Okay, at the last paragraph of this page, the dog saw a large orange cat walking along the fence. Woof, woof is the sound of a dog. He said, come and help us. So the man pulled the turnip, and the woman pulled the man, and the little boy pulled the woman, and the little girl pulled the little boy, and the dog pulled the little girl, and the cat pulled the dog. They pulled with all their might, but they couldn't pull up the enormous turnip. The cat spied a little mouse sitting under a cabbage leaf. Cabbage leaf means band gobi ke patte. Meow. She called, come and help us. Now the cat called a mouse for help. Now we have to move on book page number 9. So the man pulled the turnip, and the woman pulled the man, and the little boy pulled the woman, and the little girl pulled the little boy, and the dog pulled the little girl, and the cat pulled the dog, and the little mouse pulled the cat. Now they all are trying to pulling up the enormous turnip. What happened? They pulled and pulled with all their might. Don't stop, panted the man. I think, yes, I think we have done it. And at that the turnip came flying out of the ground. Dear students, finally it was pulled up by all of them. The cat fell on top of the little mouse, and the dog fell on the top of the cat, and the little girl fell on top of the dog, and the little boy fell on top of the little girl, and the man fell on top of the woman, and what fell on top of the man. The situation was very funny that when the enormous turnip was pulled up, they all fell down, fell up on each other, and they was too much surprised that finally their hard work and their trying got successful. Okay, in the last two paragraph, the most enormous turnip anyone had ever seen. It was too much huge in size. When everyone had finished laughing, finished mean khatam karna, laughing mean hasna, they picked themselves up. You must stay and have dinner with us, said the man and his wife to the little boy, the little girl, the dog, the cat, and the little mouse. So they all were ready to eating dinner. The turnip was delicious. Delicious mean mazedar. And you know, it was so enormous that many market men come to buy the slices of the turnip. By this way, he earned a lot of money, and his prayer was answered by God. Dear student, happy ending. And this is the result that not they did not only eat the turnip, but they also the slices of turnips was bought by the different other market man, and he earned a lot of money from it. Okay, you can see that man was trying to cutting the slices of the turnip, and the woman was preparing the meal. Now the dear students, question answer mentioned on book page number 10, exercise A, which we already solved in lecture 1. Now exercise B, C, D and E is your homework. You have to do it on your rough register or separate sheet, and you can take help from your written planner which you have taken from your school. Exercise B, C, D and E. Okay dear student, I hope that you learned many more and enjoy this lecture. We will meet again inshallah. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz. Goodbye.